Yeah, okay, we're going live. We are live now. I
What is
pretty
this?
much jumped the gun.
There we go.
Okay, so
Hey.
welcome. We're a little bit late, but no matter. We're here now. That's all that matters. And I'm trying to get myself more central as well. Be chatting away with Shelley here, my friend, and it's our first connection call since the holidays, and the first one for 2023. And we're continuing our series of the illusions of humans, specifically today talking about the illusion of disunity. So it may seem that we are just one tiny speck on this planet and that we are so in isolation and everybody else is carrying on in their own little world and we're all you know single-mindedly following all our own you know responsibilities, our habits, our lives without any interference or well, we obviously interfere, but we feel like we're literally on this one track and it's we're disconnected from others to a certain extent. Obviously, in our immediate relationships, that might not be the case, but and our colleagues as well. But scientifically, or when we come down to it, energetically, we are all part of this one unified field, this cosmos, this intelligent force field, well, energy field, that we may call the universe, whatever you want to give it, whatever description you want to give it. But when a lot of people these days are subject to the idea that they are lonely, that life seems a bit of a challenge, and that they have to face it alone. So I don't know what your take is on that, because obviously you're very much into emotional connection, and empowering others, and to seeing helping others to see, how we can change the way we feel about ourselves and the way we interact with others. Sorry, it's a
Well,
bit
first of
of
all, I
a big
want to
ask.
address, what you were speaking of is that really this cosmic experience of being human, of course, most of us aren't particularly aware of that, but the actuality of it is that we're all connected energetically. It doesn't feel that way when we feel like we're isolated, which is part of that illusion that Esther is speaking about. And so the emotional component is what is necessary for us to really address because, well, for the most part, it does feel at times when we are by ourselves and we're going through whatever issues and challenges that we have in our lives. And so, of course, it's our responsibility to handle those. But the truth of it is that we really aren't by ourselves. It is a perception. So now, how does that impact you and living a life that works for you? Well, simply taking a breath and knowing that it's all in divine order. All in divine order. Taking a breath, looking around you, noticing your surroundings. Do you have a roof over your head? Do you have food in your stomach? Are you able to provide some food for your family? Maybe you're not able to pay the bills fully, but then you need to do whatever you need to handle that and take one thing at a time. But the feeling of being lonely or isolated, or that there's some disconnect from the human race or from physical reality, is simply just an illusion. It's just a perception.
Mm.
And that you are enough as a human being. You are whole and you are complete, even when it doesn't feel that way. So, what are you going to do in taking steps forward to continue to create the quality of life that you want to have? And that's discovering, first of all, that you really aren't alone, that you aren't the only one going through the issues you're going through, if you have some,
Yeah.
and that you are fully capable of manifesting whatever it is that you really want to have in your life. And it's just a matter of not stopping. and making sure you take effective steps that are going to support the outcome that you really want to have. But this feeling of loneliness and isolation is simply not so. It's a perception. And being empowered, empowering yourself that you can do whatever you need to have the quality of life that you want to have, that you have the power, that you are whole as a person is most essential. And starting to get that within your spirit, because the truth of it is you really are already. And feeling disconnected from that experience is where we get stuck.
Yeah. So just on the weekend, I helped to deliver a self-love workshop, and I think that's where it all starts, isn't it? Just honoring and loving yourself. Yeah.
Because the energy, and Esther and I have talked about this in probably the previous segment and even before that the essence of our energy is pure unconditional love.
So and it's the vibration of the universe, isn't it? It is the one that actually optimizes our existence as human beings, and takes us away from the illusions, takes us away from the misery of our lives, isn't it?
Yeah.
When we change focus.
And the misery that we actually impart on ourselves through circumstances, through buying in that something isn't okay, is simply that. We buy into something that's just simply not so. Because when it comes to life, it really is an abundant life. It's a matter for us claiming it, claiming our power, claiming our connection with God or with universal energy, however you believe about it, makes no difference. Because the essence of the experience is the same for all human beings. And so you can have a quality of life you really want to have.
Yeah.
But starting to realize that it's just a perception and that it's not real, even though it feels real. We're not negating that. It feels real when you're up against the issues in life that you come up against. But that doesn't mean you don't have the ability to turn it around, to transmute it. You always will. You'll always have the ability to move forward with the quality of life you want to have. Always. And the thing to always remember is not only can you disconnect from the perception, but as long as you don't stop and you take effective action, life will start to open up. Always has, always will. My own experience, and I've been through many challenges in my life. And, I'm a walking example of what's possible for people.
And I think it's also understanding, reaching for that goodness and knowing, that everything will come out all right, and whatever action we take, which feels, and it's connecting back to the inner wisdom that we have that sits with, is directed by our heart, isn't it? And the love that we feel for, generally underneath the surface, we all want to gravitate or to that level of love, that high level of vibration, and that's where we're happy, and that's where we find connection with ourselves and with others.
That deep sense of satisfaction with who we are and with the quality of life, that's where it lives, is deep within ourselves. But if we're always focused on the outer world and the things that aren't working, then it keeps us from the connection with the experience or the feeling of that connection that is already hardwired within us.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So I think it's just to encourage you to just temporarily withdraw from what's creating the static in you, isn't it? Almost
withdraw, yes.
Yeah. And then go within and find your inner peace.
Yeah, that you can really shift your focus and focus on what you really want to create, We're not talking about positive thinking now, because positive thinking by itself doesn't really change anything. Wonderful to have positive thoughts.
It's like a band-aid.
The band-aid. What we're speaking of is shifting your experience so that you actually feel the connection with yourself, with your power, with your ability to move forward in your life, and to truly deeply realize that you're not alone.
Yeah.
And that you have universal energy, you have God, you have the experience of your connection with all that there is, to really have the quality of life that you really want to have. No matter what your circumstances are, you always have the power to move out beyond those circumstances.
Yeah. And of course, it's also knowing how we respond. It determines the experience we have, to
Absolutely.
certain situations, because we're all connected. There isn't this disunity. We're all interconnected. And even our thoughts, our words, our gestures, they all have this ripple effect. So being like the captain of your ship, running and knowing and, directing your consciousness or your emotional intelligence in a way that helps, that supports you, will also support others and bring also this greater, deeper connection, relationship with others, won't it?
That's perfectly said, Esther. And again, we have the power. Each and every one of us. We're all human. We all have this human experience. We all have the power to move beyond whatever our challenges are. And it's just a matter of claiming it and saying, no matter what, me too. I'm going to have the quality of life that, is my birthright, in fact. That may not mean that you're going to have more money in the bank. It's not a function of the amount of money necessarily. It's a function of your deep rooted experience with who you are and your connection with love, with unconditional love of the universe, of God, and taking the steps that are harmonious, effective for the quality of your life that you want to have.
Because I've witnessed it now, being involved in this community's interest company, that a lot of people are lonely, but they're afraid. They're afraid, and it's a false fear of stepping out, putting themselves on display or whatever, or making the attempt to connect with others. But actually, there's always that one incredible, amazing experience when they do and they realize the fear was all illusory in the first place. There was nothing really to fear. It's just that unknown quantity, isn't it, that always keeps us safe. Or it's self-preservation, isn't it, in a way, that's all hardwired into us from our origins. But the way we sort of, eked our existence in primitive mode back in the day, but now it's that's stopping us from finding this deeper connection with one another and with ourselves. Because when we connect more deeply with others, we also find a deeper connection within ourselves, and we find that more greater meaning, more relevance, more, because of the connection. We need that connection to make better sense of our life, because we are one of the same.
And that's very true, Esther. And that leads me to another comment. And in this discovery for your life, in letting go of that feeling of isolation or disconnect from others or from the experience of unconditional love, is to have great compassion for yourself. Begin there. Great love for yourself. And from there, you'll have much greater love and compassion for the other people around you in your life that sometimes may be very challenging for you and whatever the circumstances might be. And just allow life to be there without the resistance. Relax.
Self-acceptance, isn't it? And it's just doesn't matter. We're not perfect. We've all got some sort of flaw or another, but it's fine. That's okay. Go back to what really matters, you know. That's
what really
precious
matters.
And true.
Right. And remember, again, you have the power. You have the ability to turn it around, to let go of whatever is holding you back, where you feel not harmonious with your life for whatever reason.
Thank you. That's lovely. I think we can pretty much round it off there, unless anybody wants to put in a question. And if you're watching this on replay, please put it in the comments, and we'll circle back to it and deal with it and answer it in the best way we can. And so Shelley and I will be working more closely together in this year, and hopefully putting a few programs together that you can participate in. And so watch this space, really. We're all about helping you see the power within you to change, transform your life, and giving you the tools to do so, really. Yeah. How about that?
I want to tell everyone that it's a privilege and an honor not only to be with all of you, but an honor and a joy to have Esther in my life, and that we're partners in this. So I thank you for joining us today, and we appreciate any comments or questions that you might have so we can address them for you.
And again, just to sum up, loneliness, separation is just a perception. It's not your reality. We are all connected together in this beautiful universe, and you are beautiful, and you deserve your love to yourself, and then giving love to yourself, you find that you can express love to others better. So, the world makes the world go round, as they say, and it's true. So thanks very much. Appreciate your attention and your loving kindness. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everybody.